Okay, folks, I am finally getting around to watching the Rippaveal. That is the apparently 45-minute long Rippaverse video where Eric July is showing off his plans for the year. Now, unfortunately, my current laptop is a piece of garbage, and at 10 years old, it does not want to share the video at the same time it's recording from my webcam. For some reason, it just kind of blacks out the YouTube screen. So I'm going to have to just basically wing it, and the only thing you're going to be getting is either my facial reactions or my commentary. Now, one of the things that I do want to mention is the fact that this is something that I've kind of been looking for from Rippaverse for a while. I have always said that he just kind of keeps his information way too close to the vest and doesn't let loose any of his plans for what's going to be coming out in the next year or so worth of comics. I mean, he doesn't have to do what he's necessarily done here, which is to give like a full year's worth of schedule or anticipation in one big fell swoop. Now, I'm not saying that's a bad thing that he's doing this, but I'm just basically saying that if he could just, every once in a while drop a note saying, yeah, I got Chuck Dixon working on a book about thus and so, and I've actually got the Suska sisters working on 2 different books, and blah, 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 then that's something that could keep our interest coming along. But I don't want to, like, condemn all of the trailer drops that I've seen, even though it's been like a crap ton of trailer drops. And I don't know, is this Rippaveal just going to be basically that sequence of trailer drops, all in one long continuous stream, and then he's just been releasing them, God, he's had how many? I'm counting, let's see, how many of these trailers does he have out there? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 8 different trailers for stuff that he's coming out with. And so I guess, his threat to publish 1 book a month is pretty close to coming true. But I'm like, why drop all those trailers at once? Now, maybe it's because he wants to generate buzz, and maybe it's because people like me have been saying, hey, quit hoarding all the information. You got to let people know something that's coming down the line. But honestly, I was not expecting a deluge like this. And I don't want to condemn it, because if I condemn it, it's going to be like, oh, fine, well, he keeps everything to himself, and you condemn him for that, and then he lets loose all this information, and then you condemn him for that. You're just never going to be happy, whatever. Like, I don't want to be that way. So let's just see. I'm going to start the trailer and just see what happens. This is the Rippaveal Showcase, December of 2024. And here we go.
What's up, Rippaverse family? I'm Eric July, the founder and owner of Rippaverse Comics, and welcome to our first ever Rippaveal Showcase.
Has he put on weight? I'm just curious. He looks like he's filling out that jumpsuit a little bit much.
These are showcases that we'll do as frequently as needed, and they'll show off future Rippaverse content, and you get to hear insight from our creative teams. Before we get started, I have to thank all of the fans out there for...
He said as needed. I don't know why he said that this is something that they're going to be doing as needed. You don't actually need to do all of these trailer drops, but again, not complaining yet. I'm just basically saying that need.
For making this venture such a successful. I started the Rippaverse in 2022, and by the end of 2024, we've sold over 210,000 books and made over $10 million in total sales.
Okay, $10 million in total sales, obviously that's impressive. 210,000 books, obviously that's impressive. But what is your current number of readers? That is the thing that we really want to see. You started off with 43,000 individual purchasers, and with your next book, that got cut in half. And with your book after that, that got cut in half. And then for the YAIRA stuff, you practically had to, throw out a statue out there just to get your numbers back up to where they should be. And Gooding, of course, that one was the flattest one. And I noticed I haven't seen a trailer drop for a Gooding issue 2 yet, so we'll see whether or not that's actually part of this Rippaveal. But without that number of purchasers, we don't really know anything, because who knows how many books are being bought by individuals as opposed by just being snapped up by certain whales who are buying everything that he puts out. Another thing is just the fact that he's made $10 million in sales, but how much is he having to pay out for the business? Because that's not all profit. That has to get reinvested into the business and bringing in talent and bringing in new equipment and paying the warehouse rent, all of that kind of stuff. I mean, he's probably got enough. It's like I've said before. I mean, he's probably got enough going for him that he can sustain the company for a good period of time. Now, whether I'm going to be along for the ride for all of that, well, that's going to be up to my subscribers largely, because I do not plan on paying for all of these books, because I can. It's not that I can't afford it, it's just that I don't have the interest. And I will go one at a time through these different things and just let you know how interested I am in these projects.
Sales. As a completely independent publisher, this is insane. And that's all thanks to the fans. Now we're catching up to our demand, and our release schedule will accommodate this. You've decided that the Rippaverse is your go-to form of entertainment.
Oh, God. You've decided that the Rippaverse is your go-to form of entertainment? Oh, it's really not. God.
And we should be producing as such. Now, previously, we released graphic novel-sized books with a lot of time in between releases. Pre-order windows now will be shortened whenever possible, and some books will not be a part of the collection format at all. And because we have a universe to flesh out, initially the books were often number ones and based on new characters. Now in 2025, that's going to be much different. Sure, we have some new characters and titles that we want to show off, but this upcoming year, you're going to see a lot of follow-ups to previous stories. Now that you've met several characters, it's time that we continue with their adventures.
Okay, so one of the things that he's talking about is that he's going to be putting out issues like number 2, number 3. You're not just going to get new characters every single time, which is good. You want to have that ongoing continuation. You don't want these characters to just be lying fallow. You want real stories. You want progress. You want things happening from at least quarter to quarter, if not necessarily month to month, or at least year to year, if not quarter to quarter. So yeah, I think that's good that he is focusing on developing the existing properties as opposed to trying to generate just new property after new property, especially when he's got things that he's already introduced, like NORFRICA, that haven't even had a number 1 yet, but which, according to the trailers that have dropped, that's on the way. So as far as the plan to drop number 2 issues, that sounds solid to me.
That'll help this feel like a living and breathing universe. In order to get multiple issues out for multiple titles, we're going to shorten the page count of some issues. Now, they'll still be much bigger than the traditional floppies, but this will now lower the cost of entry while not having you wait so long between issues. It's going to be...
Okay, so he's talking about lowering page counts in order to get the books out in a more rapid order. And that can work. I mean, for God's sakes, we have all of these comics out there that are like $5, $6 a pop now, and they're only 20 pages, 22 pages. So it's not that it can't be done. It's not what we're used to seeing, but at the same time, he's also got, like Chuck Dixon, who's used to popping out shorter stories than what he's been doing of late. The only thing is that see, here's the thing. You go to a store and you don't have to pay shipping. You just pay price of the book and you pay the tax. But if you have to pay shipping each time, that's going to be a problem, because who wants to keep paying for shipping over and over and over and over again? If he's going to come out with something every month and you have to pay $8 in shipping every month, well, that's like $100 over the course of the year added. So I suppose there are probably going to be some people who say, well, I'm just going to have to hold off and place my order, maybe at different various times during the year. Yeah, the shipping surcharge could be a problem with that. Yeah, just as far as shortening, I don't know what he means by not doing things in the collection format, because all the collection format is a pre-order campaign. And does that just mean he's going to be sending these books right to the shop, where you can just buy those? I mean, it seems like those would be like one-off things, like a concept art book or the art of kind of book. And I was kind of hoping we would get something like the writing of kind of book. Yeah, I mean, those could be one-off items. The toys, the merch, statues, stuff like that. I mean, that could go directly to the store. As for the comics themselves, I mean, I don't see why he wouldn't just do what he's been doing. Beats me.
Be a very productive year, so we'll start with some things that you may already be aware of. Let's take another look at the Rippaverse Trinity.
In 2022.
Okay, so the first thing he's talking about is the Rippaverse Trinity. That's a volume that puts together ISOM #1, YAIRA #1, ALPHACORE #1, all together in one volume. And I've already paid for mine. I had to get this because apparently ISOM #1 is going to be remastered as far as its art goes. And if the sample pages I've seen of the remastered art are accurate, this is going to be an epic shit show. This is not going to be the improvement he thinks it is. I've seen a couple of pages where the new coloring doesn't look any better than what the old coloring was. In fact, it looks amateurish compared to the old coloring. Yes, the Rippaverse Trinity is supposed to have remastered lettering for all 3 of the titles. I'm really hoping they put in the missing page from YAIRA #1, because that missing page sure leaves a gap. And if anyone's wondering what I'm talking about, there's a scene where she goes to visit someone in a nursing home, and then in the next scene over, she's got that person at her house. It's like, you missed something somewhere. Somebody dropped a page of the script, or somebody dropped a page of the final artwork where you actually show her taking that person out of the nursing home and bringing her home, because that's just like, ooh, all right, instant teleportation, no interaction with the staff. I don't know how that even happened. ALPHACORE didn't really need any do-overs that I recall, except for some of the script, in that you've got some kind of logical plot hole problems in Chuck Dixon's writing, but they're not going to try and redo that. But ISOM #1 had some problems, and it'll be interesting to see whether or not they can actually identify the problems, trucks and stairs, and maybe clean up some of that stuff. But I'm not very hopeful based on what I've seen. From what I've seen, they're actually making some things worse. So yes, the Rippaverse Trinity. That's going to be a fun one. I am so looking forward to that one. Move it up to... Okay, there we go. Next thing. Rippaverse Trinity Volume 1.
We know that many of you love the collected work, so I'm really excited for you to get the first volume of the Rippaverse Trinity. The remastered art of Cliff Richards looks great, and it's also our first ever oversized hardcover. It's up for pre-order right now, so go reserve your copy.
Oh, and he's talking about how the hardcover is oversized. I just got the soft cover because I'm probably going to shred the thing for scans.
Moving on, not too long ago, we announced our first cosmic hero, an original conception of both Chuck Dixon and Joe Bennett. It looks like many of you are very excited.
Now they're doing the ZALEN. What? That subtitle of the ZALEN work. Oh, they still got the comma on there. Yeah, when you have what kills must die, you don't put a comma after kills. But yeah, I mean, this guy totally looks like Space Namor, and other than that, there's nothing much that can be said because we have no idea whatsoever who this guy is, what his origins are, how he connects to the Rippaverse in any particular way. That's very interesting that they said written by Chuck Dixon, colored by Marcos Martins, drawn by Joe Bennett. That's kind of getting the credits out of sequence. Chuck Dixon's going to talk to us a little about ZALEN, it looks like.
Hey, this is Chuck Dixon. I got a new project coming out called ZALEN. It's a brand new character I co-created it with Joe Bennett. We cooked it up in our sick little minds. He's a space-going, space-faring,
You know, part of the thing that's kind of hard about watching this is that I don't really want to know much about these books. I feel like I should be watching these just to find out whether or not I'm going to be getting some of these or not. But when it comes to things like ZALEN, I already know I'm going to be getting that one. I've got my interest is peaked enough already. But at the same time, here I've got Chuck Dixon actually talking about the book, and I don't know how much he's going to say. Let's see how it goes. See, I'm the kind of guy who basically, if I know I'm going to go see a movie, I stop watching all the trailers for it. I don't want to know anything about the movie after that. That's pretty much it for me. So,
cosmic warrior, and he's going to play a major part in events coming up in the Rippaverse very soon. And I think you're going to really like this guy.
Okay, that was sufficiently vague.
Hey folks, I'm Mike Barron. I've been writing comic book.
Okay, here's Mike Barron, and is he actually going to be writing something else for them? He did Gooding the Polymath, and that was like their worst performing book.
All my life. I started out with my own creations, Nexus and Badger, and I'm happy to say that both those characters are alive today. Nexus is probably the most honored independent superhero comic of all time. From there, I went on to write many other titles for many other publishers, but I've always been drawn to fringe characters. And when Eric July asked me to write Gooding, I jumped at the chance. Gooding is the type of character I might have thought up myself, a self-made millionaire, a genius, an autodidact, and a polymath. Polymath is a master of many disciplines. Now, you may have read the first Gooding, I hope so, and they say that a writer should write what he knows, but it's also the writer's job to imagine every point of view. So the writer has to put his head in whatever character he attempts to make real, or otherwise he'll fail. Believe it or not, Gooding's trick against Ron Hodges in high school comes from personal experience. I had read ALPHACORE and some of the other offerings that the Rippaverse has since produced, and I was determined to open the scene up, and that's why Gooding #1 is much bigger than Gooding in the origin and deals with matters of life and death, as most of these books do, and also with international disputes. But I was thinking of ALPHACORE, and I realized that for every action there's an equal and opposite reaction, and that the existence of ALPHACORE, a number of superheroes dedicated to good in Fluorspark, required the rise of another organization. That's where Delta Base came from.
Okay, well that's interesting. So Mike Barron, who wrote Gooding the Polymath, apparently is going to be writing more Gooding, and he's writing a series. I don't know if it's going to be a series or a one-shot, or at least developing the villain group called Delta Base, which is kind of a villain response to ALPHACORE. And okay, um, that's okay. All right. Well, we'll see. We'll see what goes on from here. I'm still trying to get my hands on the original Gooding script. I got remember to bug him about that after the new year.
All right, guys, let's get to the rest of the showcase. We have a bunch of announcement trailers lined up for you today.
Okay, so we're doing announcement trailers after this, and I'm guessing these all have something to do with what titles are going to be coming out. Maybe these are all the same. Maybe these are all the same ones. Although the first one that I see doesn't appear to have any relationship to what I've seen before.
I miss you. I miss you so damn much.
Okay.
Things weren't supposed to be this way.
Is this stuff from BLOODRUTH I'm not supposed to know yet because the book's not out yet?
You should still be here, next to me. My brothers, my mother. If only I could turn back the clock or find some magic to bring you back. Grandmother tells me I should not interfere with the nature of things, but she broke the rules with grandfather. This is a price I am willing to pay the coin for. There must be a way. She says it is forbidden magic. I wouldn't hope to accomplish this feat without having one of the world's greatest magicians to assist. Well, Nana, I just so happen to have one of those, and he owes me big time. Their souls are on the other side. Can I hope to traverse oblivion to be with them again? My family.
This is like too much information. Is this BLOODRUTH number 2 or is this BLOODRUTH number 1?
I wouldn't give for you to be beside me like you used to be.
Okay, so that's BLOODRUTH number 2. Same creative team as BLOODRUTH number 1. Okay, before we get into the next thing. Okay. That is definitely something I would have held off on. I would not have put out a trailer for BLOODRUTH number 2 knowing that BLOODRUTH number 1 hasn't even been released yet. I mean, what the hell? Yeah, that's a little bit too much. I don't mind stuff being revealed, in sequence and stuff. But when you haven't even given people the chance to read your first book, don't spill secrets on the second book. What the hell?
I don't like talking about it. But we should talk about it more as a nation. It was an already fractured territory. Texas today is not Texas of yesteryear. What seemed like a usual international conflict changed the lives of everybody. Especially me.
Yeah, The Great War of Separation. Now, that's a book that I am definitely interested in getting because this is, some of that history is something that we should have been communicated to about right in the first couple of pages of ISOM number 1. Honestly, when you open ISOM number 1, first Rippaverse book ever, you have a opening page that says 2 weeks ago, Florence Park, Texas, and you've got the outside of a police station, and you've got a green-suited police officer, who at first I thought was a postman, because who the hell knew that, police officers wear green in Texas. And you've just got an outside thing, and then that pans into the police department, or transitions into inside the police department where they're watching TV and there's a governor talking about his record on crime. That whole first page should have been populated with captions where the governor is basically making a speech to the news reporter about, the history of the Great War of Separation and how it's been, X number of years since Texas split off from the United States and yada, 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 to let us know that we're dealing with an alternate Earth where such things happened. So we didn't. I don't think we even really understood until ISOM #2 that there had been kind of a war of secession from the United States, and that was just bad world building at that point. But because this world building is being done now, I'm very interested to see what it is that they come up with. I know Chuck Dixon's writing it, and who's going to be drawn by Jack Herbert. And it's a limited series coming 2025.
There's an upcoming project, The Great War of Separation. This is a major, major event in the Rippaverse universe. It's written by me, drawn by Jack Herbert. It looks astounding. The artwork looks astounding. But the thing you need to know as a Rippaverse fan is the story takes place decades ago and explains how Texas became an independent state from the rest of the United States, and how a lot of the characters that you already love in these stories came to be. How they got their powers, what makes them Excepts, and what is an Except. And a lot of this is explained in The Great War of Separation, coming soon from me and artist Jack Herbert. This is a great big honkin' origin story that you're going to need to read.
Lord. Yep, there's going to be a salvage book. So I'm guessing that the salvage book and the SAIORSE book that are both coming out, that they are both going to contain the pages that were originally placed in the Rippazines that kicked them off. God almighty.
I'd already looked it over. I have a lead, but I like to look my clients in the eyes. William Scotcher, Chief Operations Officer of Fritford Trucking. They are being targeted. Tens of millions of dollars worth of goods have been intercepted. They only deal with high-value loads, and this has to lower trust with the other companies. The inventory is all over the place. Either they're targeting Fritford, or they're just opportunistic vandals. It must be the former. They're too bold. So, who has the most to gain? A competitor. Very few companies handle luxury goods. It just so happens that Florist Park Logistics had to downsize a few years ago. The first time ever. Why don't we pay them a visit?
Lord. Yeah. Yeah, so basically that's where the salvage story from Rippazine #1 is going to be completed, and I believe Eric July is about to tell us a little bit more about this.
Man, issue #1 of the Rippazine was something else, because we didn't know how well the Rippazines were going to do. It was one of those things that we wanted to find a place to really test the market out for some characters instead of committing to these long form books. And you never know, you put something out, just because you've been successful in the past does not mean that people are going to want this new character. So when we released it first, we all were a little antsy, because you never know with those types of things. I am a nerd for a lot of old detective stuff, crime noir things, and it was fun to write Salvage because people got to see that kind of side of me. It is a completely different story in comparison to something like ISOM.
It is not a completely different kind of story compared to ISOM. I mean, ISOM, at least tangentially, is also a detective story. For God's sakes, I mean, the hero is working to try and find a missing girl. That's partly a detective story, so this is not that big of a stretch, dude.
For example, they're two completely different characters altogether, and the general style or genre that they fit in is completely different. So people kind of got to see through these private investigator stories that side of me. We put it out and we saw the reception. We even had some polls go out, really getting some audience feedback, and almost unanimously, people wanted more Salvage altogether.
Why the hell did people want more Salvage? Why? Why? I mean, I wanted the end of the story, of course, because I like to see stories be completed. But good God, I mean, if he wasn't going to complete the story, why the hell would you even introduce the character?
So I immediately got to work writing out some ideas to really finish up on the initial story that was being told by myself and, of course, the legendary Bart Sears. And, of course, I reached back out to him and he said he was in to do a more longer form graphic novel to really finish out this story that we started off in that first issue of the Rippaveal with Sal.
It actually sounds like he was going to just leave that 13-page story hanging if the audience wasn't interested in seeing more. Because I don't think he had anything written beyond that 13-page story, which did not conclude in any way, shape, or form reasonably. Unbelievable.
Salvage. When you have a city like Flores Park and it has the police officers, even a ALPHACORE that is also attached to the police, how do private investigators fit in that was something that we had to really try to figure out. And I wanted to make them special, you know, not just any sort of private investigator. And this is how we came up with.
No, not just any sort of private investigator. You had to, like, you know, rip off James Bond.
With the whole LF certification as Salvage Lethal Force, which is what this upcoming graphic novel is going to be. That's what that LF stands for. And it's a special certification that only few people in Flores Park even have, Salvage being one of them. So it was our way to really kind of not just make it special to him, but also get the mind jogging as, okay, so you have this private investigator in Flores Park with this special certification. What about the others? So, you know, Salvage is sort of investigating this crime or these repeated crimes that have been committed against a trucking company, and certainly being where I'm from, it was something that it was a story that I had kicking around in my head. I know a lot of truckers in real life, a lot of my family members, and it sort of influenced me to kind of write this story here. And I can't wait for people to kind of find out what's really, really going on. If you read the first Rippaveal, you saw the way that thing ended, and you're like, who in the world is that guy that he's going to be faced up against? Well, of course, you will be learning about that in Salvage Lethal Force. I didn't know initially, as I was creating the character, if I wanted to give him like a superpower, because I really wanted him to be like this character that people could easily relate to. And that's not to say that characters with powers folks can't relate to. They obviously can. But I wanted him to be a person that people could find really, really believable. So we attached this superpower, if you will, which he has this abnormal hearing. And you can imagine, certainly as a detective, when he goes around.
Now that's one thing that he says, or that Eric July says, that I do like it, is that he acknowledges that Salvage has super hearing. Because that was something that originally he was saying that Salvage does not have any powers, but that was obviously not true from the comic, because he was hearing things that were going on in like a parking garage 2 floors down, things that you could not possibly hear with normal human hearing. So good for Eric July acknowledging that Salvage has this super hearing ability.
Snooping around as an investigator, well, that can be a very, very useful thing, and that's why I explain the powers, and we read up on this next story. You're going to really get it. I feel like we did it in a creative way. It's not just a guy with super hearing by any means, but you saw a little bit of that play out. And I'm really, 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 really excited for you guys to read the upcoming Salvage Lethal Force book by myself and the legendary Bart Sears.
Another nightmare.
Yeah, I don't know if I can deal with that unless I'm paid to. Good God. I mean it's almost kind of frustrating because I've already read 13 pages of this book that I'm going to wind up paying how much for? And I've already commented on it as well. So unless he like has it remastered or changed in any particular way, I'm not going to be commenting on anything new for the first, 13 pages of it. And I wasn't really that interested in seeing any more of it, other than just for closure's sake. Tell you what, I'm going to be having some bribe streams in 2025. I'm thinking about it, with all of these Rippaverse books, and I'm just getting to the YAIRA #2 preview now. I'm feeling like I may as well just like open up a bribe stream fund for Rippaverse 2025 and basically say, okay, here is the amount of money I would need to collect if I'm going to buy all the books that I am not myself personally interested in. Which is going to be a big freaking number, but at the same, I would almost say that probably half of the books that they're coming out with, I'm not gonna be picking up. Well, we'll see. YAIRA #2.
Every night I'm forced to watch my family die. Every night I'm treated to a symphony of horrors. How hard I try, I fail. They call out to me to save them, but I'm helpless. Ever since I executed you, old friend, you've sent me ethereal messages that the mighty black sorcerer cannot be so easily defeated. Is this some spell you cast before I delivered your death blow? Could you have somehow survived?
That is not the same YAIRA accent as from the live-action video. Are they trying to tame it somewhat?
And patiently wait till I'm at my weakest to strike. Until you have succeeded in driving me insane. Could there be truth to my visions? Are you all still alive somewhere? Lurking in the darkness?
YAIRA #2, forget it. I cannot begin to get it. God, did you see that scene where he's hugging her and it's like his beard is like, woof?
Hi, I'm Sylvia. And I'm Jen. Hi. And we are the lore masters, editors, and writers at Rippaverse. We are also
editors, girls. You suck at that. Holy crap.
horror directors and the Twisted Twins. Since we already spoiled it, we are writing YAIRA 2. YAIRA 2 is happening. Thank you for the success of YAIRA 1. Thank you very much.
For the success of YAIRA 1, where we had to debut a statue to get us up to the $1.5 million we weren't going to hit otherwise.
And what happens to YAIRA in YAIRA 2? Well, she got in a little bit of a mess in the first YAIRA, and there are going to be repercussions. Yeah, since continuity is kind of a big deal in our universe, anything that YAIRA mess...
Continuity is kind of a big deal in our universe. That's why Mick Davies is both an old white guy and a young black guy.
Stuff she's gonna have to clean up in #2. And if you thought we were rough on YAIRA in YAIRA 1, wait for YAIRA 2. We do not go easy on the Ice Queen this time. YAIRA has all new villains. Yeah. She has some new allies. And let's just say we saw some requests online for what you guys wanted her wearing, and Deborah Carita was more than happy to oblige.
We must assess the situation. Alerting the others is not required.
Oh god, is he just gonna read dialogue much for the book.
I would not suggest such a thing, as it would send this realm into chaos. I do suppose if they are here, our run will assist us in nailing down their exact whereabouts. It has been a very long time since we've had a reason to get involved in the affairs of Earth. If it is time, they will soon find out. Our lyrics are not make-believe!
That looks so corny. And I'm still gonna be getting it. Oh, God.
So I introduced Norfrica in ISOM #1, and since then, like every comment in any video that we do, it's when's Norfrica coming? When are they going to show up? And that's awesome because they were.
Yeah, he just said every time we do a video, it's like, when's Norfrica coming? And like, yeah, because they were the first group that you introduced. I mean, until you actually put out something to do with them, your job is not done. Oh, man.
Some of the first few characters that I actually created before you guys had ever even heard about the Rippaverse, and they have a very specific purpose within the Rippaverse. Again, if you read the end of ISOM #1, they're not just there at random. You know, they're in this touring band, and you're left to think, why did this touring band have these gods or godlike beings that are a part of it? Takari and Valadan, they have a very, very specific.
If you read the end of ISOM #1, they're not just there at random. There is like no freaking connection to the events of ISOM #1 in that after credits thing. Sorry, I don't know what you're talking about.
Like purpose, right? And not just that, we've left nuggets along the way. If you've read any really of the stories within the
We've left nuggets along the way. You have left immense piles of crap along the way.
Rippaverse. And so we knew that we needed to come out swinging when we did eventually end up giving them either in a limited series or this sort of ongoing, because again, like I said, they do have a specific purpose. They just weren't random characters that we threw in. We have certain elements of the story that we're telling that they absolutely need to fulfill, but the demand is there, so we got to kind of keep things going. It's no secret that I'm a metal guy. I'm in a metal band, been in several others before, backwards the one that I am in right now. So this is obviously something that's near and dear to me. One of the easier stories for me to tell. And, you know, we're tapping into some history, some mythologies, different things, but a touring band, I've been there and sort of done that. So as you guys start to hear at least that aspect of the story, so you're talking about the present day or current day Rippaverse, it's going to be a fun one. Because there's some lessons that I've learned along the way, some experience, things that I've seen with my own eyes that we're going to be able to entertain and really bring to you if you have not ever been in a metal band or a touring band or anything like that. But yeah, because we left those little nuggets in some of the previous stories that we've told within the Rippaverse and even some of the ones in the future, there's going to be a massive payoff. Now, I can't tell you guys what exactly that's going to be, but just know that Norfrica plays a very vital role within our universe. I first started working with Ronaldson, who will be the artist for Norfrica Glorious Death, this limited series, with like Horseman and some other covers that he's done along the way. And guy is one heck of an artist. And as soon as I got to working with him, I was like, man, we got to get you on some sequential work. And he was hungry for that. That's what he wanted. And I can't wait for people to see him be able to tell some of these stories as well, because, you know, they're taking place in different areas. Let's just say that. And because they're taking place in these different areas, you needed someone that could really is really detailed with their backgrounds, things of that nature. And he really, really, really does a very phenomenal job at that. So yeah, there's lots and lots of story to tell with Norfrica, and finally, we get to tell some of those stories in Norfrica Glorious Death by myself and Ronaldson. Can't wait for you guys to read it this upcoming year, 2025.
Okay, so finally we're getting Norfrica good. That is one of the books that I have been waiting to see, and yeah, that's one that I'll definitely pick up.
Guys, I got news.
Sasuke's sister,
I'm finally leaving Sylvia. No, it's happened. It's overdue, honestly. We're going our own ways. It's true. We had a lot of you guys ask, who wrote more in YAIRA? Who wrote which part? And we're like, well, I guess the audience doesn't really...
Who wrote which part of YAIRA? I want to know who wrote Black Widow, because it wasn't y'all.
They know our writing style. Well, obviously, the good parts of YAIRA that you liked, I wrote. We'll see.
You can feel when something bad is about to happen. People swear these things appear out of thin air, but there are always signs, if you know where to look.
This one kind of nauseates me. This one kind of nauseates me because it looks like it is a book that focuses on Michael Copper and Lillian Renashi, and if you've read them in their appearances that Chuck Dixon has written, these are not the most interesting characters in the world. And I'm just wondering how these characters are going to be written by the Saskas. You know, one of the things that I will say about the Saskas writing as opposed to Chuck Dixon's writing is that if Eric July has an idea for how these characters should be written, it's the Saskas who are actually following out his idea. It's not Chuck Dixon who's doing it. Chuck Dixon just kind of gives him his own spin, and it's not necessarily the best spin. But, oh god, let's see what else is going on here. This is the volume I think is called The Cursed.
Look, I often see what others miss. Things most are never meant to see. So is the nature of my curse. I love pain. It makes me stronger. The worse the pain, the greater the suffering, the stronger I become. Whereas others live their lives avoiding pain and suffering at all costs, I turn to it. I welcome strength, no matter what the cost.
Are they trying to fix her character from being the idiot that she was in ALPHACORE #1? Is that what they're doing? Because that would actually make sense of the absolute idiocy that we got in ALPHACORE #1, where Lillian Renashi is basically berating her partner Michael Copper, because he is doing things that are drawing too much attention to themselves. And so she says, well, I will get this stuff done discreetly. But then what she does is formulate a plan that brings ALPHACORE like right to their doorstep, which makes no damn sense whatsoever. So what the hell? So now the Saskas are writing her in such a way that, you know, oh, I welcome strife, I welcome conflict. It's like, okay, well, that would probably explain why it is that you basically shouted to ALPHACORE, here we are. But God, it's just so freaking inconsistent. How in the hell do you expect? You've got Chuck Dixon there doing his own thing, and you've got you and Eric, doing y'all's thing. I mean, Eric didn't even freaking read Horseman, because if he had, he would have noticed the thing that I said about Mick Davies being both an old white guy and a young black guy. And he would have basically told somebody to fix that before it went to print. And I'm like, you've got two different comic book universes developing here, and I don't even know which one I'm supposed to follow. Oh, the sad thing is that because it's focused on these characters, it might actually interest me enough to get this, but oh, that hurts.
Every ending is also a beginning. From death comes new life. Before Michael Copper, before Flores Park, I rose to power. A power that was my birthright. It is not my fault. Sometimes bad things happen around me, and I do not know why. But sometimes very bad things happen. I wish I could control it, but I can't. I just know when something bad is about to happen. And I've got that feeling again. Something bad is about to happen. Very bad. All I need to do is give it one little push. I am Lillian Ronashi. Welcome to my world.
Damn it, I may have to get that one.
Well, I have a special surprise for you fans. We're going solo. We are writing our own books. And my book will be starring none other than Lillian Ronashi, the ultimate Japanese femme fatale. Who is she and what does she want? Well, I know you're dying to know, and I'm dying to tell you. If you're a fan of Japanese horror, especially the great Junji Ito, you are absolutely going to love this book.
Okay, that's a tall order. She basically said if you love Junji Ito, you're going to love The Cursed, which is going to be written by Jen Soska. I have pretty much got all of Junji Ito's books, so that's a tall comparison to make. It's kind of like Shane Davis keeps saying about Inglorious Rex. If you like Rocky, like, then what? Because this book is not like Rocky. God, I really don't want to read that book, but I'm going to.
It is a mature horror novel. It has extreme and disturbing situations in it. It is a sci-fi body horror thriller. And Andrew's in the room. I don't know if I can say very much more, but what I can tell you is it's better than Self's. So much. Like, don't even bother buying Self's book. I don't even know if it fits into the continuity of the universe, to be honest. Lillian is going to grab you by the censored word and not let go. In a good way. Just remember your safe word.
Oh, be honest. We all have things in life that we want.
Oh my god. Oh my god. So, okay, now is this going to be ALPHACORE number 2? Or is this going to be Sylvia Soska's book? I don't know. Let's find out. But it seems to focus on Michael Copper, who, by the way, I think was written terribly wrong in ALPHACORE number 1. I mean, he just seemed like he was written like a fool. And the vibe that I got from him in ISOM number 1 was actually that of Al Pacino in Scarface, Tony Montana. I really got a Tony Montana vibe off of him in ISOM number 1. And then Chuck Dixon did his own thing.
Things that we desire. You only get one life. Why deny yourself pleasure? It could all be gone in an instant. Your life's snuffed out. And where did all that self-sacrifice land you? We all die, but so few truly live. I can see what you want. I know how far you're willing to go to make it happen. I can make it happen for you. I can make your wildest dreams come true. Hell, I can even make you a star, if you're willing to do the work. Why not guarantee your success with a deal with me? I have a very exclusive club, you might say, and growing numbers every day. You'd be amazed by who is one part of us. You should join us. Why don't we make a deal? I have a contract right here. You'll be very glad that you did. This is going to change your life. And after I'm done with you, nothing will ever be the same again. Welcome to the Black Eye Club.
Okay, so the Black Eye Club, written by Sylvia Soska, is going to be focused on Michael Copper. And, oh god, I'm going to be getting that one too, aren't I? I mean, here's the thing, is like, because I thought Chuck Dixon did such a disservice to these two characters, that the fact that these characters are getting their own books that'll really explain them that much better appeals to me. You know, it's like maybe they can kind of fix the damage that Chuck Dixon did to them, because right now I just don't really think highly of these characters at all. So, okay.
Hi guys! So now that you heard about that girly stuff that Jen's up to, let's get to the good stuff with Michael Copper. Ooh. Everybody loves a bad boy. For those literary fans in the Rippaverse, if you are a fan of Chuck Palahniuk or Bret Easton Ellis, you are gonna love Michael when him and his...
Okay, now that's interesting. She cited Bret Easton Ellis as one of the influences on the Black Eye Club, and I guess that's probably for the hedonism that he's known for writing. For example, one of the books he wrote is Less Than Zero. And I have that book, and I've read that a couple of times. To me, that's the kind of book you read when you're absolutely out of other books to read. And it deals with, you know, somebody who's just basically mired in the lifestyle of these rich kids who come home from college for the summer and just party it up. And it was famously a movie with Andrew McCarthy, Jamie Gertz, and Robert Downey Jr. back in the day. He also is responsible for the book American Psycho, which I've also read. And he also did the book The Rules of Attraction. Those were also both turned into movies. So, yeah, a lot of psychotic stuff there. This one does not really kind of resonate with me the same way the Lillian one did, and that's largely because Lillian kind of makes herself out to be the brains of the operation between her and Michael, at least according to ALPHACORE #1, which is the only place where they've really gotten any airplay. So I'm not as interested in this book as I am with the Cursed book, but at the same time, yeah, I'll probably wind up getting it too, because completeness and all that. OCD.
Fancy suits, get out into town, and really let loose, you know, in a Michael Copper way. They're babes. There's a lot of fighting. There might be even a little dirtiness from Hollywood. Not that I would have seen any of that and put it in a script. And buy a couple of gems, just for niceness, but buy like 2 of Michael's. But don't buy any of those. Just buy Lillian. You don't need Michael. You don't need him, honestly. Okay, so we're kind of competitive. Don't buy her book, buy my book. But y'all read ALPHACORE, right? Michael Copper is useless. Lillian Renache, she gets poo-poo done.
Now that's
he
funny.
was holding back.
Oh my God, she just said, Mike. You know, according to ALPHACORE, Michael Copper is useless. Yeah, that's basically why I'm not quite as interested in him. And now she's saying, oh, he was holding back. It's like, yeah. See, they don't even have the same ideas of who these characters are. They're just going off on their own tangents, and they're not coming up with a coherent character Bible or whatever it is. Ugh.
Read Michael Copper, and you're like, whoa, this boy. Whoa. That's what I said. Whoa, right? I saw Jen reading, and she was like, whoa. And then I was like, not. She was crying. She's like, I wish I wrote better comic books. I did not. That's exactly what she did. She was like, for like an hour, and I was like, Jen, it's okay. That never happened. I think she's remembering when she was crying because Lillian was so good.
Okay, now.
Ahora, chicas. Vámonos. Arriba. I guess my Tex-Mex old boy Spanglish got through to them.
Lord God, are they really doing a Horseman #2? Oh God. Oh God, my head. Why?
Or maybe they were just running from the crazy dude in the mask. Probably a couple million in fentanyl here. Anyway, it won't be going to Flores Park.
Oh god, they're doing an ongoing Horseman series. No, not happening. Not happening. Nope. Unless I'm paid.
Hey, thanks to your enthusiastic reactions to the Horseman, we're already working on Horseman #1. The script, and Joe started on the pages. Stuff looks fantastic. I think you're going to have a lot of surprises in store. You may think you know what the Horseman's about, but you really don't. And you're going to find out more and more about the Horseman and his world.
I'm not fond of Parlay and his gang, but his information is useful. I assume that he'll become a problem eventually, but he's not the big threat. The recent moves have little to do with Parlay's gang. Mondomation is playing the long game. Parlay's territory has the largest school district in Flores Park. They're not...
Alright, I'm skipping ahead.
So Rippaveal #2, unexpectedly, did better than Rippaveal #1. I think a lot of that had to do, of course, with the team that was on that story. It wasn't just myself, because there were a lot of people that wanted sequential art.
Rippaveal #2 did better than Rippaveal #1. I wonder if that's because of the boobs.
Coming from our art director, Kanan White. It was just highly anticipated once people got a glimpse at that character. So Rippaveal issue #2 just absolutely took off. So while I'm trying to plan for Salvage's book, I had this other problem, which is a good problem to have, and that I had another character that a lot of people wanted. So I had to get started kind of kicking some ideas around. Now I had most of the story already written as far as the layout, but now we're starting to do something in a different format, of course, than what we're doing with Salvage, because Salvage will be just more or less this a traditional sort of graphic novel. This is going to be an ongoing series with SAIORSE #1. Now, as you've probably heard me already talk about, I nerd out about the detective stuff, but all detectives aren't equal, right? They have different things that motivate them. They approach things in a different style, and I really wanted to capture that esque of sort of that film fatale, and being a private investigator, not necessarily just a spy of some sort, but a legitimate private investigator that's taking on some really crazy cases. And she's different from Salvage. So they're both private investigators. They have that LF certification, but they're not the same. And it's not just as simple as her utilizing her beauty to
I cannot be the only person who thinks that LF certification thing, lethal force certification that Salvage and SAIORSE share, is just the dumbest idea. I mean, what does it get you? I mean, if you're, are you actually able to murder people in the line of duty? Because that's basically what the whole James Bond License to Kill thing is. And if you're not, then how is it any different than just having open carry, self-defense, loophole usage, whatever the hell it is, here in Texas anyway? It doesn't make any sense to give them any kind of special things, especially when you have a government program that's only been successfully passed by 3 or 4 people. You're not even going to have that program. That's wasteful. And I mean, it's not like governments can't be wasteful, but it's just wasteful even as an idea.
Kind of navigate this world of Flores Park, really, in being an LF certified person. It's not just that, because with Salvage, he takes on certain types of things. And if you've read the book, you know with Rippaveal issue #2, he doesn't just take on any sort of gig. There's special types of gigs that he has to deal with. You know, SAIORSE, she's left with these very dangerous gigs, and she's getting involved in this story with Mondomation, and really can't wait for people to see how that's going to play out. Kanan's artwork on this is amazing. My good friend, and of course our concept artist, and Marcos, he helped design the character. Kanan had just a little bit of input there as well, and that's his gal. So when I approached him with, hey, this thing blew up, we got to do something longer form, like before I could even finish my sentence, he was ready to get some more work done. So I'm really stoked to be working with him. I think we kind of have this dynamic duo, this tandem, working together on projects like this. And in SAIORSE, I think for years to come, this is going to be a character that a lot of people love, a lot of people gravitate towards, and yeah, they're just going to thoroughly enjoy it. It is a fun story, but it is a story that's meant to sort of make you think. She's navigating Flores Park. Yes, an affluent city, but there's different sides of it. You got the Upper East that we've talked about, Upper West. Flores Park is a big city state. So there's a lot of things that we get to entertain in that sort of underground and the underworld in which she's operating. It's such a fun thing to do, fun story to tell. And of course, Caden just has a way of really adapting the story and capturing the essence of who I wanted SAIORSE to be. And I just can't wait for you guys to read this ongoing series, starting of course with SAIORSE #1, which will be dropping in 2025.
About
you know, the word empire is used very loosely. People just associate it with wealth and power. What exactly is it? Off limits.
Speech. This is ISOM #3.
I'm sending a memo with all the details of this man.
Oh my god, really? I mean, he just basically has his narrator read Darren Fontano's last speech from ISOM #1, which really makes me feel like ISOM #2 was exactly the reverse insert that I think it was supposed to be. Because my feeling was that if you were to actually look at ISOM #1, 2, and 3, you would see that ISOM #3 actually followed organically from ISOM #1, and then ISOM #2 would come after, because, you know, what's his name? Sam was missing, and so we need to go and find him. And that's where BLOODRUTH and Gooding and the Devilings and all this kind of stuff come from. I always felt like all of that stuff had been like taken back and inserted where it really didn't belong. So issue #3, I would not be surprised if you were able to like ditch issue #2 altogether and just look at 3. And maybe 1 and 3 together and see that they formed a complete story just in and of themselves. Would not surprise me at all.
I mean, this is our flagship hero. It's a personal character. You know who he's named after. Again, it being the first character that really...
You know who he's named after? Yes, the International School of Ministry.
Had this responsibility for putting over these other characters as well that you guys have come to love. There's been a massive demand for ISOM, and ISOM #3 is really special. If you read ISOM 1 and 2, there's a lot going on, a lot that's hanging above Avery's head. He has this Darren Fontano situation to worry about. He helped rescue Sam, who has his own things going on with BLOODRUTH, and it's just so many different avenues and paths. And now we get to bring everything together in this final issue of this arc, the first ever arc.
Yeah, it's so many avenues and paths, yes, and that's why ISOM #2 was such a freaking disaster, is that it just went everywhere. There's no coherent story behind that thing.
Arc for ISOM with this ill-advised arc with ISOM #3, and I just cannot wait for people to read it. You know, Darren Fontano is an interesting case, right? He's not just some crime lord in this big city. You know, he has a connection to Avery in terms of his past, so that gives him an advantage like no other. And because he's having to deal with the dynamic of maintaining that status that he has, and ISOM sort of threatened it, he's got to deal with that, and he recognizes that he absolutely has to address that. However, there's a lot that both don't know about the other, which is going to make for some really interesting stories that we're going to be telling in this massive book in ISOM #3. Cliff Richards being the first artist that people got to see as far as his interior work. You know, he's taking it up to another level, and that was something that he really wanted to do. You know, we had the help of our art director and Kanan White that kind of came along after the fact and really wanted to elevate. That was his goal, to really elevate every artist that we have here. And some of you guys got to see some of his newer work in that remaster, which is in the Rippaverse Trinity, volume number 1. And you could see how he's cleaned some things up. He's enhanced some different things, and he's taken all of what he's learned along the way, obviously, and now he really does understand this character in ISOM with ISOM number 3. So to me, and yeah, you may can say this is easy for me to say, but I actually believe this is some of Cliff's best work ever. It is so good.
I really don't like the way that that Cliff Richards gets treated in these videos, where it's all talking about oh, we brought in Kanan White to elevate Cliff Richards' work up to the next level. There was nothing wrong with Cliff Richards' work. I mean, in terms of just the clarity of it. I mean, there were little things here and there, of course. Everybody knows about them jumping at each other in the air and then skidding backwards. I mean, that was some bad sequencing. And then, other little things like bad parking lot stripes and stuff like that. It'll be interesting to see if that gets remastered in the Trinity volume. But honestly, I mean, ever since the whole 3D assets thing, which I could care less about, was exposed, everybody's just has been climbing all over his reputation and just trying to drive it into the dirt. It's not fair. It really isn't. He does a really good job in a lot of places at telling a story sequentially so well that when Eric July fails to provide captions and dialogue to help guide you along through the story, his art is all that you need. And the fact that he can do that is pretty amazing. That he can tell a completely coherent story with his artwork alone is just amazing. I really hate hearing about, how we brought people in that just lifted his stuff up to the next level or something. Why don't you bring somebody in to lift your writing up to the next level? All of y'all's writing up to the next level, because y'all need that a lot worse.
So good. And of course we have our new colorist in Sebastian Chang, and he even elevates it even more. So the both of those guys as a tandem really make for some fun storytelling here with ISOM number 3. And because we have a lot of the story to wrap up to close out this particular arc, it's a big book, guys. I mean, ISOM 2 was bigger than ISOM 1. ISOM 3 is bigger than ISOM number 2. There's just so much of the story that we really needed to tell to finish out this arc, and we wanted to take our time. That's the awesome thing about the format that we had released with this, and that we could tell whatever story we wanted, and we weren't being rushed. None of the creators were being rushed. And while I do know, and I'm very aware of that demand where so many people are like, look, man, where is the next ISOM? I'm waiting for it. Trust me, it's going to be well worth the wait. You're going to get a great story. Of course, I feel really good about it. I feel like this is some of my best work. And
what's really interesting about what he's saying about ISOM number 3 here is that he's talking about how he's letting it expand to be as large as it needs to be in order to tell the complete story that he wants to tell. And that is exactly the same thing that Ethan Van Sciver was telling people about Cyberfrog Wrecked Planet and about Cyberfrog Dark Harvest, is that he had ideas for where he wanted the stories to go, but as he thought about them more and more, he fleshed out more that he wanted to do. And so I think, Wrecked Planet wound up going from being a 48-page book to a 72-page book, and then Dark Harvest was only supposed to be about 10 pages, and it went from being 10 pages to about, 20, 30 pages now. It was supposed to be like a preview. It was supposed to be like 10 pages of the initial Dark Harvest story, and then 10 pages of prelude into Red Extermination, which is Cyberfrog number 3. But instead, he's put together an entire story. So Eric July is basically doing these, saying that he's done for ISOM number 3 exactly what he's been criticizing Ethan Van Sciver for, in making people wait for his books. Eric July's been making us wait how long now for ISOM number 3, and who knows, maybe one of the reasons that he's made us wait so long so that he can add all this stuff together in one volume is so that he doesn't have to pay 2 cents of royalties to the International School of Ministry. Just basically cram it all into one big large book and then just write that character off after that. God.
And also Cliff's best work as well. And it is a satisfying conclusion to this first arc, but it's also, I think, going to leave you with some questions as well, and you're going to be stoked about ISOM going into the future, or at minimum, you're going to be curious about it. So ISOM 3 coming out finally in 2025. Myself, Cliff Richards, Sebastian Chang. Man, I know you guys are going to love this story just as much as I love creating them for you all, and that support that you guys gave it and have given ISOM, this brand new, fresh character. He's only 2 years in, and you supported him the way that you have. It means a lot to me. It means a lot to all of us in the Rippaverse, and that's why we wanted to write the absolute best story that we could with ISOM number 3.
Okay, ALPHACORE number 2.
Wilkins. The entire time you were one of us. You did what many of us refused to do. Your courage, your sacrifice will not go unavenged. I wish we had more time to mourn. But the city-state is on our ass. With the Eagle's Nest crashing, our enemies predictably pounced on the opportunity. Now, even the civilians of the city-state are questioning our existence. We're in trouble.
So ALPHACORE number 2, I will be saying, largely because I just want to see, if the natural consequences of the absolute calamity that happens at the end of ALPHACORE number 1 is answered or gets a sufficient response in ALPHACORE number 2, and to see where things go from there. God, I wish I was able to get the screen to show.
And if all of that is not enough for you, ALPHACORE 2 is on its way. I've begun writing it. It's the continuing adventures of Brian, Ingrid, and Braxwell. It deals with the consequences of all the actions, all the stuff that happened in ALPHACORE 1. And the destruction of the city. A lot of people are blaming ALPHACORE, so ALPHACORE has a lot to make up for with the citizens of Forest Park.
That's interesting. The police department where it showed police DEP period on one page actually does show DEPT on another page. Didn't even notice that.
And their own fellow police officers. In addition to that, I create a brand new villain, and it's going to blow your mind. Let me tell you, I'm really excited about this opportunity to be a part of what is basically a comic book movement in the Rippaverse. The fans are great. My fellow creators, like Mike Barron and the Saskas, and the terrific crew here at the Rippaverse, and of course Eric, driving the bus. We're doing great stuff here, and I hope you're enjoying it as much as we are.
That'll wrap it up for our first ever Rippaveal showcase. In the future, we'll announce some of the artists and the surrounding team for their upcoming projects. There's still other works that we plan to put out this upcoming year, such as more Rippazines, and perhaps those will make it to the next showcase. We thank you all and appreciate you so much for being customers of the Rippaverse. We do this all for you, and we'll keep working to become a more efficient publisher and make improvements wherever possible. Let's be great in 2025.
Alrighty, that's enough of that. So, well, yeah, you can't say that he doesn't have a full slate. Somebody, the Real Nerdy Review was telling me, like, every single Rippaverse character is getting a title. Like, oh god. Yeah, I'm looking at, so let's look at the list of reveals. I think there might have been one or two that weren't on the list. So we've got ISOM number 3, of course I'll buy that one. ALPHACORE number 2, yes, I'll buy that one. YAIRA number 2, nope, nope, not unless y'all pay me. SAIORSE number 1, nope, not unless I get paid. Great War of Separation, sure, I'll go ahead and plunk down for that. Salvage Lethal Force, nope, nope, I'm going to need some money for that one. NORFRICA Glorious Death, yes, I'll go ahead and get that. The Cursed by Jen Saska, and what was it, the Black Eye Club by Sylvia Saska, probably will get those as well. Those, yeah, but if I don't enjoy those, boy, yeah. So I guess let's see. So out of the titles, I think there were only 1, 2, 3. Yeah, 3. So I guess I should go ahead and set up my next, not necessarily bribe stream, but at least let people know how much I'm going to need for this coming year. Because I'm thinking that, well, actually I have no way of knowing. I have no way of knowing because I don't know what the prices are going to be. So I'm just going to have to establish a fund or something and say, this is my Rippafund. And if you want to donate so that I can review YAIRA number 2, SAIORSE number 1, and Salvage number 1, then please do contribute. But right now, I just need to get some sleep. Maybe a little bit of food before then, because oh god, I don't know. I just wanted to see what it was that they were doing for the Rippaverse, and now I'm probably gonna start watching all of the trash casts that Ethan Van Sciver has been putting out in the last 3 days, just to just to bust Eric's balls, I'm sure. But thank you for watching this video. I hope it wasn't too terribly boring. I mean, I know I would much rather have presented it in such a way where I could have given you the YouTube video as well as just my reaction to it. But my current technological situation is what it is, and I will hopefully have a new setup up and running by next week or the week after or something like that. So anyway, I'm Mike Martika. Thank you for watching. Please do subscribe if you haven't already, and I will talk to you later.